Hey, what's up, guys? This is Skull Drawings, and let's go over a horse skull, actually. I'm going to go over the general kind of formation of it, then I'll kind of go over drawing it. So, if you want to like think about the structure of a horse skull primarily, um, I'm going to think of it as this kind of shape. This is the top plane, and it kind of goes into the temporal plane, the top part of it though. And pull down these sides. Think of it as like, this is like I'm thinking about it as a block, the general structure of it. It's going to come over here to the front of the snout. The very front of the nose is flat because it eats off the floor. You know what I mean? It's kind of a flatter, it's, kind of round, but it's nowhere near what, like, let's say a giraffe is. A giraffe has kind of a pointed snout because it doesn't really eat from the floor very much. It eats mostly from trees. And the horse, though, it eats from the floor, so it's a little bit flatter. You know what I mean? It tends to be a little bit flatter. But this kind of box shape right here would be a good way. Like the eyes are on the side. The reason prey animals have it on the side is because they have kind of evolved this kind of vision thing because they have to look out for predators. So their eyes tend to be like aiming toward the side a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe over here on this side. And so they can survey. Predators tend to have them on the front so they can judge distances and things like that. Um, and then that's kind of the general structure. Like I said, it has a small kind of temporal mass up here, pretty small. It doesn't have that strong a bite force. It can definitely bite you, but it's not. Doesn't the bite force is not very strong. But let's kind of go into the actual, like, now that we know that structure. Now that we know that structure, I can kind of build that structure. Let me use a pencil. And center line. Also, happy Back to the Future Day. That's today. Let's see. So I'm going to build that, and then we can draw our skull into that shape. So first thing I do is I'm going to go to the eye socket. And the temporal mass, like it says up here. Might even be smaller than that, to be honest. I might pull that back a little bit. Crest, kind of a little small crest in the back. That's just kind of to hold muscle there. This is the zygomatic arch. It doesn't have a very big zygomatic arch. Like I said, like it doesn't have like a huge, like if you look at a big cat's zygomatic arch, it's freaking giant. You know what I mean? Because they, bite, like more or less pretty dang hard. Pull it front here, and I'm gonna go here to the nasal. You also got to think about it logically. Their nasal cavity is going to be pretty big because they have to take in a lot of oxygen when they run. Because if you look at their feet and stuff, they're pretty much built for running. Predators are pretty much built for like grabbing and pulling close to you and eating, essentially. I mean, they do run as well, but you know what I mean? If you look at it, these guys have hooves. They're really only for running there. I'm trying to fill that in here. Just using a quick micron. Pulling toward the front. So with the teeth. They kind of come together, and then there's a kind of a sack here for them to kind of like have grass while they're chewing it. And then we can go into the rest of the teeth. it has this empty cavity right here to kind of, I forget, they call it the something pouch, I forget. But something to, like I said, to have the grass there while they're kind of waiting to chew it. We kind of have that too, actually. Or like cheeks. Bottom of the jaw. Let me, really quick, let me kind of erase the little box shape. If I can, actually. I'm not sure where my eraser is. Let me grab an eraser. Okay, I got an, 1 second. Okay, found an eraser. That box shape was just to start things out, to kind of get the, like I said, the structure going on. Structure is really important because you want to think in 3D. That's a big part of it. You want to think structurally, like think in Legos, think in blocks. That makes it easier for you. A lot easier. And then, tooth cylinder on the other side. Here's a fun little fact. It has a little canine here sometimes. As it usually does. And that's because it's kind of, as it evolved from another creature, or another, species, it has that leftover canine right there, which is really bizarre. Shouldn't have that, which is crazy. Just still has little remnants of it. It'll probably get rid of it eventually because it doesn't use it. Teeth. So at this point, I can essentially just kind of like play around with it. I just kind of went over how to draw it. At this point, I can go into detail. And like I said, like for example, pulling out smaller lines, filling in other areas. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? For now, it's going over the more of the how-to, but let me just kind of go into some detail for a little bit, just to try to make this a little bit better. It was more like the how-to, and then I will kind of come back to you. Anyways, that's about it. I just kind of worked a little bit on it, not much, you know what I mean? It wasn't really about that. I'm trying to just go over kind of the how-tos of it. I only tried to like pretty it up a little bit. Not pretty it up, but just kind of make it presentable. I throw a big thick line over it. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's kind of how I go about drawing a horse skull. And remember those points I talked about? Eye sockets are kind of closer to the side. Kind of like diagonal more, like they're definitely not front. Larger nasal cavity to take in a lot of oxygen there. To run, kind of a hole here for the pouch. And does like small temporal area because it doesn't really have a huge bite force. It can definitely bite. Don't get me wrong, because I know horses bite. But humans and stuff. But they're not really, in nature, they're not going to bite a lion very often. You know what I mean? I guess last minute resort, but they're not made for that. And let me continue this line. And that's about it. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. And I will talk to you on the next video. See ya.